So thank you everybody for attending our global breakout here. My name is Rich Tomasini. I'm going to be your monitor today, and I've got the trifecta of information on how to grow your organization internationally. On the stage, we have Marty Turner, who is at 76 agents. He had just joined us not too long ago, doubled his agent count last month to give you an idea of the amount of growth he's experiencing. It's a ferocious tenacity on getting his EXP organization up and supported well. We have Barry Pulver, who is one of my level ones and is actually the gentleman on this side of the Atlantic that was able to build a relationship with Adam Day in the UK. And because of Barry, we were able to open up EXP UK when EXP leadership came in there and developed it out. So Barry's got 285 agents, and then Carlos German, who is in the influencer alpha group, which is where I met him, although I have heard his name for now 3.5 years that I've been here. And Carlos has got 1,580 agents. So I'm just going to go a couple questions each guest, and we'll leave a few minutes at the end for some Q&A and kind of cover some of the things that I would like to know growing internationally. For myself, I have 1,520 agents, and I am about 15% international, about 85% in the States. So let's just give a real quick run through. So Marty, we're going to go by agent count here. Marty pretty much doubled his agent count in a month. Most of his agents are international. He is in India, Portugal, Brazil, Colombia, Canada, Mexico, Hong Kong, and Spain. Marty, your first question is, what is your vision for international growth?
Well, Rich, thanks so much. Appreciate you taking the time to moderate. It's great to see all the smiling faces and some of the people from the Legends International team here. It's really quite amazing to see what has happened in just a short period of time. When you look at EXP, 11 years, and you look at the growth that's happened since, people like Michael and Megan, who's here on stage. Thank you, Megan, for all that you do to help and make international possible. When I first joined, I looked at this as an international opportunity. And the idea was that I wanted to develop an international team. We renamed it to the Legends International team. And I'm just so excited that there's so much good things happening. And so one of the big things that I want to share with you as far as the vision is that even though we've had incredible growth over the last 11 years, here in the US for the most part. And then I'm so impressed with what you and what Barry have done to launch in the UK and bring Adam on. And then everything started from there. So you guys were really the pioneers. And so the vision is more countries, more people, more lives being changed in a positive way. And so if you think about it now at 15 countries and 5 continents, we are just getting started. And when I think of the vision of what we're doing, I can't really get into that unless I mention my good friend, Jason Jordan, who's the CEO of the Legends International team, really the one who's attracting and building amazing leadership. The idea that we can build country coaches and captains, such as, I don't know if Philip is in the room, but I know a number of other leaders from Portugal. But the idea that we've been able to grow so quickly really is all about Jason. I want to just simply give him the honorary title as a global ambassador because he's done such an amazing job, building and working tirelessly. Now, he happens to be in Italy. So the beautiful part is that I'm in Minnesota here in the US. So we can kind of cover all the time zones. When he's going to bed, I'm getting up and vice versa. So it's kind of cool that way. But the cool part about it is that we can grow whether we live in a rural area in the, Midwest or whether we happen to live in Brazil. The cool part about it is that when I'm looking at what's happening, I'm looking at the growth potential beyond what's happening here in the US. You look at just India alone, we're talking 1 million real estate agents in India alone and over 1 billion people in India alone. Think of the growth we could have just in India if you and all of us, whatever, 10%, 1%, 0.5% of that type of population base of agents that would be coming on. So the reason I got excited about EXP was not only all the things that everyone talks about, which is the opportunity to be a part of an agent-centric company, to be able to be part of something that is huge when it comes to the opportunity for revenue share, to be able to have ownership and be a shareholder. But the big thing for me was the international expansion. You know, I'm involved with another networking company. We have 220,000 people in 5 different countries. But to know that in a very short time that we're already in 9 countries and the company's already in 15 and more are on the horizon, I see more growth happening outside of the US than you know, and that's the biggest part about it, is just what's going to be happening throughout the whole entire world. And so when I think about Brent Gove, who really put this incredible vision together, and I want to just share his vision. You guys all know Brent Gove, of course, and talks about igniting one big fire of passion around the world to have 1 million agents in 100 countries in the next 10 years. I got to be honest, I'm all about that. Instead of coming up with a new vision, I'm just going to jump on board with that, because that is absolutely huge. And again, just on a closing note, I just want to say thank you to the Leadership Council from BK Worldwide, Brian Gullickson, Chris Visnick, Carl Airy, who's in Canada, and also Colleen O'Brien, who are all part of our leadership team, because this is not something I do. And I know, Rich, when you talked about it, you feel like you'd be doing a disservice if you didn't recognize the people that are really the ones making things happen. I'm just blessed to be a part of this incredible company, to be a part of this panel, and to be a part of this incredible team that I'm able to lead and grow worldwide. So where I see it is a lot of people making a lot of money and changing a lot of lives. I love what Glenn Sanford said, that, you know, we're talking about 10 people that are out there changing lives, but when we look at the numbers, it's 2 billion in equity that has been given back to agents through awards. I mean, there's no other real estate companies even envision doing that. And he's even said that we've created more millionaires of the agents that we've brought on board than anything else in the last 11 years. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about all the good things that are happening. And I hope that you guys will all continue to work hard. We'll talk a little bit more about some tools, techniques, and ideas. And on a closing note, some things as an icon agent, and sharing with ongoing trainings that you guys can tap into on what we're doing and how that can help you grow, because we have limited time here today. So with that, Rich, I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, Marty, very specifically, what has been your largest hurdle in growing internationally? Because I think a lot of people are intimidated by the concept. The idea is very attractive, and then the logistics of getting this done has its own challenges. If you can keep this around 2 or 3 minutes so I can get through everybody,
Sure.
just dial right in on exactly the hurdles that you've experienced.
You bet. Well,
Thanks, Marty.
the biggest thing, thanks, Rich. I'll do that, I promise. So the big thing was the idea that I don't speak all the languages in all the countries that we're in. And so the first thing when I started getting together as a mastermind with our leaders was to figure out ways to be able to hire and work with what we call our marketing communications assistants that speak the languages in the countries that we're in. And so by doing that, of course, they're multilingual, and I barely speak English very well. We were able to start building relationships and growing. Now, we already had contacts within the networking and also real estate industry, but now is a matter of having those conversations, setting up those Zoom calls, getting them to understand the vision of what we're doing as a team and as a company, and then basically getting that going and developed. And because of that, we've seen some amazing things happen, as you can see, in a very short period of time, with over 30 agents in the last 30 days. So really, that was my biggest hurdle, was that I don't speak any languages other than English, and I only do that in a stumbling, bumbling kind of way. So being able to bring people on that have other languages, to be able to work with those leaders that are multilingual, that was the biggest thing. And then having the virtual assistants that can do a lot of the translations, and also allow us to take some of the things that we have in English and get those transcribed, whether it's Hindi or whether it's in Mandarin, now that we're also in Hong Kong, which we're very excited about.
Very good, Marty. That's awesome. Part of the backbone of revenue share is the collaborative part. So it really sounds like you're tapping into the resources around you and getting all of the little obstacles overcome one by one. So that's great. All right, Barry, And Marty, stick around because there's going to be questions here, and I'd love to get your perspective on this. Barry's got 285 agents. He has expanded us into the UK. So from an international standpoint, he put 4 countries on the board for EXP and got us across the Atlantic. I think that happened officially in January of last year, but I know it was in the workings all year before that because we met with Adam in Vegas, and Barry had a lot of time invested in that. So now he is also in India, Colombia, and France as a budding new country. The UK was opened off one key talented player, Adam Day. And once you identified him and built a relationship and articulated the model and got leadership involved into kind of interviewing Adam and assessing the UK as an option, that way of growing internationally has been replaced with a critical mass strategy where we are looking for multiple brokerages or multiple agents to open, to where we're not really betting solely on the talents of one person. I mean, Adam is sort of a unicorn, but if he had gotten injured, that would have been a real stumbling block for us, right? So, I mean, you are now at what, 202 estate agents off the bat. What's the difference between the way that you're opening up new countries now versus the way that we kind of broke bread with the UK?
Cheers, Rich. Pleasure to be here. By the way, if Marty can't speak the best English, I want to be him when I'm older. So we've got a lot to learn. But yeah, it's a great question. So, I mean, the way I would see it in all transparency and honesty is look at EXP Realty here in the US. You know, it took 5-6 years. And at that point, we were about the same amount of agents that I have. So I think the factor of critical mass is obviously a very smart business choice. Adam Day being a unicorn is spot on. He'd probably say it looks a bit like a unicorn too. But in all fairness, you know, if we had the system and structure that we have now through EXP Global in place back then, I think it's very safe to say that the UK would not be the place that was open. And the reason is because, you know, with the American terminology, and bear in mind, I moved here 10 years ago and I did not know one estate agent in the UK when I moved here. Idiotic on my part, but I never thought I would be one at the same time. But I think the fact is it's so different. You know, if you look at a US company, which is exactly what we were. We were a North American company when I joined it. And when we partnered with the best of the best in Adam, we became global. And the difference is having the infrastructure in place, you know, having the global systems, having Megan, having Michael Valdez, and having the team in place is such a big, big difference. Because in the UK, I mean, there's such a massive difference. Let's be honest, you know, you cannot bring logically or realistically a quote brokerage or a team together. So it is organic growth, one agent at a time. And as you know, Rich, one agent at a time will take a long time. But I think I would honestly compare the UK growth as being that old-fashioned way to how it used to be here in the US. You know, nobody knew who EXP Realty were back in 2010, 11, 12. It took to what, 2000, arguably 14, 15, 16, and nobody knew who it was. So the question would be, would you rather be the first, as I was humbled to be, which you arguably have more challenges, than be it now everybody almost around the world knows who EXP is, and we have that big global difference. So there's many pluses that come with the challenges, but having what we have created, what Michael, Megan, and the team have created in this global team, this global system, this global network is fantastic. One thing I would love to add, though, on a personal level, I'm sure he won't mind me saying this, but when we launched in the UK, I had the honor, I think it was the VP of EXPI at the time, Jason Gessing, who many of you will know now as the CEO of EXP. I traveled around with him, Adam, and Olivia and the team, and we traveled around the UK. And, you know, the one thing that I would take from Jason, not only is he a very authentic, genuine guy and cares about changing the lives of every agent around the world, but that EXP is an agent-centric company. So we can't have one global system that every country is going to tap into, because if it's not beneficial in the UK or France or Australia, it's not going to benefit the agents. The one thing that Jason kind of taught me on that trip was that EXP and our core value is being agent centric. And that is one of the great things about this company, which I don't foreseeably see changing.
Yeah, very good. I totally get that. So we were kind of experimenting with the UK on this merge of EXP Enterprise Global Network now that we moved over on March 1st to the new dashboard for revenue share. And unfortunately for Barry, during the entire process of getting the UK up and going, it wasn't showing on our EXP Enterprise until they were able to make this merge, you know, a couple months ago. And we were going through some conversation about there being a buffer and how this would all work out financially. And if you guys have taken the time to come out into this breakout session, I'm sure that this is of interest to you. What is a buffer? How does that work for for the people in the audience?
Great question. I think you could safely say that I was unofficially EXP's best employee of a zero salary, if you will. So happy to do it, because it is, you know, if you want to grow internationally, quite frankly, it's not because you are automatically going to make a ton of money. It's because you want to make a massive difference in our industry around the world. So one thing I just share, UK specific, then I'll answer your question, Rich, is that, you know, let's compare it to our good friends Keller Williams, by which as a brand new agent a few years ago I was one. And with Keller Williams right now, they have about 400 agents and about, over the last 7 days, 62 listings. We in the UK, or I should say EXP UK, have about 158 active agents and 94 listings. So I think the importance of the UK and why the UK is almost its own little entity is that only experienced agents are allowed there. And that is ultimately what's going to grow the revenue and grow the revenue share, but also create a brand as exceptionally well as Adam and the team have done it over there. And that's where the local leadership really comes into play as much as the tools. Now, from a tangible standpoint, if you are looking to grow international, I would say, as with, it almost sounds redundant to this point, but it has to be authentic, and realistically, it's the relationships you already have that are going to do it. If you spam Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, I'm not going to say it's a waste of your time, because you never know. But as you know, in this industry, if you want to sell a home, if you want to be a listing agent, it's because you've built the relationship with someone and they know what you can do to help them. Revenue share is the same. To say there is a buffer in place, absolutely. So when we started growing here in the US, before my time at EXP, say I'm in North Carolina, I'm in Davidson, North Carolina, and say, Rich, you're in South Carolina, for example, just south of the border. If I was going to sponsor you, that level 1 position would actually go to EXP, state upon state. And then you would be one of my potential FLQAs, a frontline qualifying agent, but you would be under the level 2 status, if that makes sense. The countries are exactly the same way as how EXP expanded domestically back then. So say you have a contact in Italy, you bring them over directly to the company, well, they're going to be in your level 2 position, which means, which Rich, you can kind of explain the qualifying agents at that point, but they can qualify for you if they sell. Every country is different in fairness, so with the currency, it doesn't matter. Here in the US, it'd be $5,000 worth of commission within a 6-month period, but they are going to be your level 2 agent, but they can qualify from the FLQA standpoint, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So for example, let's use the real illustration of how the UK worked. On your dashboard, you brought over Adam Day. EXP has put in an enormous amount of resources, time, energy, money, everything in outfitting the UK to do business under our platform. How does it show? Adam is a qualifying agent to unlock more levels, but shows and pays as a level 2.
100%. That's exactly right. So from a
Very
qualifying
good.
standpoint, and that's where the global factor comes into play, because, you know, if you want to grow, I mean, Marty is as a unique beast. He's going to be a tremendous asset for our company, and this company is going to be tremendous for him and his vision as well. But, you know, if he wants to be growing internationally, and basically all of his direct agents are going to be level 2s, anybody that they bring over automatically are going to be his level 3 agents. So you really do have to have a big grit on domestic growth to actually financially make that beneficial for you.
Perfect. Very, very good. Thank you so much, Barry. I appreciate that very much. So
Pleasure.
let
Thank you.
us move over. Marty set the stage. He's sitting on the other side of the stage right now, which I thought was a great idea. Oh, look, Barry. And then Carlos is at 1,580 agents. Carlos and I occupy a little space in the Alpha Mastermind group here, and he's a machine. He's in India, Portugal, Italy, Colombia, Canada, Puerto Rico, Mexico. Last we talked a couple weeks ago, something might have been added. Carlos, your first
Panama,
question.
baby, coming up. Pumped.
All right, Panama is on the docket. I'm writing it down right now to prepare for what we started 20 minutes ago. So listen, there's a term, Adam Bailey first shared this term with me that I thought was interesting when Hank and I were talking to him about tap rooting. So like, for example, if I brought over 10 domestic agents here in North Carolina, Barry and I live 10 minutes away from each other, and I looked into their groups and said, hey, do we have anybody who's in another country that EXP is not in or just opened up that this might fit? Is there any relational equity somewhere in my group, not necessarily in my level 1? So we tap root into the overall organization of your revenue share to see where the relationships lie. And Carlos has been shown a lot of mastery at being able to find out who's in his group and help them join a EXP in another country or even open another country. So the question is how do you taproot into your downline and assist them in opening up a country, Carlos?
Yeah, absolutely. And what I would say first and foremost, right? As you bring in a few people into this company, you got to create a culture. And it's a culture of collaboration and support. So even when I had a few agents and I brought in 5, 6, 7 agents, it was a culture of collaboration and support. And that's where taprooting comes in, because if you're helping and supporting your agents, you find out opportunities. And I've always been a believer of building a fire in the basement. I've always been a believer of adding value and helping people no matter where they're at in my organization. So through that culture, through that process, through that mindset, opportunities show up. And opportunities can be local or can be international. So strategically, when these countries launch, part of our process is to find out, okay, who's got people there? Do they need help? Do they know the process? Do they know how to go about presenting the model globally? And I make it very known. I just started working 2 weeks ago on a country that hasn't launched with one of my partners, and it's because he knows that we have a model to help them succeed. And he brought that opportunity to my attention. And it's going to be a huge opportunity. We're literally starting now. And then I reach out to Michael Valdez and Jasper, and they tell me, oh, yeah, that country. Oh, man, yeah, we're excited about that country. If we can get some action over there, it may happen, in the next few quarters. I was like, great. We're talking about end of this year, early next year. So what happens with that connection, you want to set up a Zoom. So again, you're building a culture where people come to you until you have an opportunity. You're supporting that agent with that opportunity. And if it's an international opportunity in a country that hasn't launched, then you first have a presentation with that leader. You're looking for a visionary leader. So I'll give you the example of Panama, and I can openly talk about Panama because it was announced yesterday. So Panama, a partner of mine in South Florida, brought an opportunity to my attention of a developer in Panama that has a community that they're trying to sell here in the United States. So basically, they're building this luxury or resort community in Panama, and he brought that opportunity to my attention. It's like, hey, let's talk to this guy and see how we can help him sell his properties in this community. I was like, all right, let's go. As we were in that Zoom and identifying that this person is very connected in the real estate industry. So in addition to helping him and adding value to him in that community and trying to find him some buyers and teaching some marketing strategies, I bring up the potential of bringing EXP to Panama. And obviously he's like, oh yeah, I know some people. So he connected us with some people. The first one didn't work. The first person that he connected us with didn't work. And it was someone that said no. The second person, was interested, but it wasn't a runner. You're looking for that Adam Day. You're looking for that runner, that person that is really going to connect you to a lot of people. So we were looking for that leader, for that Brent Gove, for that Jim Frederick. You're looking for that person, especially if you've got a country that hasn't opened, because you need critical mass. So when we connected with the third person, his name is Alfredo. Alfredo was exactly what we were looking for. It was someone that had a lot of connections, to the point that I told him, hey, let's do an exploratory Zoom. We can't do the whole model because it doesn't exist in Panama, but let's see how many people you can put in a Zoom. That first Zoom, Alfredo put 50 people from Panama in the Zoom just to talk about what if. And I knew we found our guy. So that's kind of how that works. You from Alex to Abdiel, who is the developer, to Alfredo, you just find where that opportunity is. You want to find the highway. You may have a nice back road, but you want a highway of 4 lanes. You want somebody that can connect you with a lot of people. And we continue doing exploratory zones. We found people that were interested. We created a mastermind group in WhatsApp. You can do it in any platform. It could be in Facebook, Messenger, or whatever. We created a little chat of people that were excited of the possibility of bringing EXP to Panama someday. And in that chat, we have over 100 people today, and the country hasn't even launched. And these are people that are interested, that are excited, that want to join EXP once it gets to Panama. And it all started with that little connection, those conversations, and one led to another. And we're blessed to be part of that amazing, movement that's happening in Panama. And there are all sorts of other leaders doing the same.
Very good, Carlos. A lot of information in there. Can you speak to what the process is looking like for you as you start doing that? Because what I've seen a lot of people make mistakes on is that somebody in their group or they personally get highly excited about a contact they have in another country, and they get them on the phone with Michael Valdez, and the people have not taken the time to explain EXP in the way that it needs to be thoroughly understood, even though our model will adapt differently to their rules and culture. What does the process look like once you have the other person educated, ready to engage with Michael Valdez? Michael gives you the green light. What's the agent's perspective of what that process looks like?
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I'm glad you asked that question because they always want to talk to leadership. I was like, yeah, I want to open the country. I can do this. I know a lot of people. Okay, and my first one that I got way back, I fell for that trap, and I set up a meeting with Michael Valdez, and we had a great meeting, but then it didn't pan out to anything. So I respect Michael's times and Megan and the entire global team. They're working so hard to bring these opportunities to us. So from that first one, even though Michael was gracious, met with the person and everything, but I was disappointed myself because then they didn't deliver. I was like, I'm not doing that again. So what I do now is I tell them, okay, let's explore. Who can you put me in contact with, knowing that the country may not launch anytime soon, knowing that the company doesn't exist there, and knowing we can't really open about the model, talk about the model, we can talk about the vision. Who can you put me in touch with? Show me what you got. So that's one thing. Now, if this guy actually puts a lot of people on a Zoom just to explore a mastermind, what if scenario, then I check in with Global via workplace chat. It's like, hey, how's this country? Is this something that may be a possible opportunity in the future? Where is it at in the picking list? And sometimes they're like, oh yeah, man, that country, there's a lot of momentum there. There's a lot of energy. If you can bring more energy, that'd be great. Or maybe it's a country like, no, that country is in the back burner. It may not happen in the near future. So I bring that back to the leadership, in the country, the agents that we feel are going to run, and we tell them, hey, this country is not in the radar, not in the radar. So it's going to take a massive amount of effort to build critical mass and impress the company to get it in the radar, just so you know. So I'm fully transparent with that, and I tell them, you want a Zoom with the president of the company, Michael Valdez, and with the global team, you got to reach critical mass. I'll support you, I'll help you, I'll show the model, I'll represent the company up to the point you've got something exciting. And I do communicate with the leadership team. It doesn't hurt to send them a message. So, like in Panama, like 4 months ago, I told Michael Valdez, hey, Michael, just wanted to let you know, I got some movement in Panama. We got like 50 people excited. At some point, I may want a few minutes from you to say hi to them. And I just left that there for him to see and just updated him. So that's the way I've done it. Other people may set up those meetings sooner. but I want them to show me what they got first.
Yeah, very, very good. Good. All right. So listen, that's our full.
Actually, would you mind if I jump in there for a
Yeah,
second, just so I
Megan,
could give
jump in.
a little insight on the process? So I put
Please
in the
do.
chat to the website. If you do have a new country that somebody's looking for, the best place to start would be the expglobal.partners website and have them request a new country, because that's what we're really keeping track of, all of the new country registrations and understanding where we have critical mass. And then if it is like a big deal, if it's a large brokerage, 600 agents, something like that, I would suggest reaching out to Jasper Tollett. He's our global growth manager, and he's the best person to have that first call with and help screen through and see what the opportunity is, and then he'll bring it up to me and Michael.
Yeah, the partners website, absolutely. You want to pound that with your agents, because that's how you get, their attention. That's how they know who you've got that is serious.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you, Megan, and thanks for putting that in the chat box. That's awesome. So we've got a little bit of time here, about 10 minutes, it seems, for Q&As. So I saw some chat questions in here, which I will start to try to get in front of the panel. And then if you have any questions and you want to unmute your mic, just ask it live. So let me go back here for a second. Nice job, Marty. The flexibility on you.
Yeah, teach me how to do that.
Marty was using his hands while he was talking too, which I was also internally impressed with. There's some there's some language barriers, of course, right? So Barry, Carlos, Marty, whoever wants to jump on this, if you're not fluent in the language, how are you using some kind of medium to get the information over if we don't have it in that language, slides or any marketing material? Are you tapping into a translator? Are you searching out on Workplace somebody to help bridge that gap?
Yeah, that would be Marty for sure. I've just leveraged my Spanish.
Well, okay, so here's basically what we do. So the beautiful part about Google is pretty much anything can be translated into any language that's about 80% good enough. So we do a lot of that. And then we dialogue and work with, like I said, our MCAs, which are marketing communication assistants, who then work and get those basically finalized and customized, because there's even different dialects that are a little bit different. So you want to make sure you have a local person in the country to make sure that it's really authentic looking and sounding the way it's written. I'll just kind of leave it at that.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, very good. Let me see what else I have here. As far as marketing, I think it goes into the same vein of that. Yeah, I don't see anything else here as far as
Rich, there was a question, if I can jump in. Someone was asking about, can they tap into the resources of the things that I've done to bring on these virtual assistants? And the answer is there is a ton of resources out there that you can hire people, and it's not a lot of money. There are a number of countries that they work for anywhere from $3 to $7 an hour. And the cool part about what we've done as a team and our philosophy is that when they catch the vision, because they're interpreting all of this for us and we're all excited, we always let them know if they're able to get a license, or if they're in a country that doesn't require a license, they can come on as an agent. And the only thing we ask them to do then is to train their replacement before they join us in the Asian attraction and in the marketing and selling of homes.
Awesome. Does anybody else have any other questions? If not, we'll give you guys the next group a little bit of time to get their mics up. I was listening to that Orlando while I was waiting on our session, and my God, I'd hire that guy as a life coach. He was superb. It's amazing how much talent that we have in a collaborative way here, accessible to all of us. I've been in and out of a couple of these meetings here today as I finally got my head above water. Really, really awesome collaboration. I think we'll probably have like I think it was the last convention that we had like 50,000 unique clicks. I'm very curious. Megan, did you hear anything about how many people have been visiting? Have you heard anything internally?
No, we haven't gotten the final numbers yet, but I'm excited because we usually hear also like how many countries were represented and all of that. So I can't wait to see.
Yeah, real cool stuff. All right, I'll give it just another 30 seconds of avatar silence, and if not, we just thank the guests for coming up here and thanks for your time today.
Good stuff, Rich. Appreciate you taking the time to moderate. Great stuff. Appreciate all the great questions and insights. Maybe we've just given them too much to process.
We have them staggered in silence. Go ahead.
Rich, hey, I'll ask a question. Why not? So, my name's Steve. I'm from South Africa, and so I've just sponsored someone in France, and there was an ex coaching client. So there was an existing relationship there, and the guy's English was okay, but it did raise a question. When you're going into a country that has already launched, so we're not, trying to find the new broker of record. They're already up and running, like France, for example. But you've got someone there you'd like to show, or there's someone in your group who's got someone. Is there a go-to, like, initial resource? Like Brent Gove uses the modelexplain.com, and then there's this 30-minute video that is the initial presentation. Is there something like that you use as the sort of first explanation, or do you go straight to a Zoom meeting, or like just practically, what does it look like?
You should have, my friend, you should have access. I think through, there's a lot of links on Workplace. My first resource, pretty much every EXP global model, the presentation itself should be there. Some you'll see, like the India one, for example, will have Shashank explaining it, but you should see the slides from pretty much every model if you just search on Workplace, or maybe Megan has a more direct. Thank you, Gretchen, that's perfect. Check it out on there. You'll see a lot of them on there. Every country has its individual website. So you'll see the figures, you'll see the facts, you'll see the slideshow there themselves.
So just to speak on a micro level to that question, the way that we handled revenue share here nationally was getting them to sit down and see something that had a visual and audio component to it that explains the model. The way that I always explain the model here, just to simplify it, because there's so much robust technology and features within EXP, it can be overwhelming and not know where to start or end, is I explain it like a 3-lane highway. Lane 1 is performing and selling real estate. Lane 2 is earning stock. And lane 3 is this expansion model called revenue share, where you can scale and compound with a virtual brokerage in a way that's never been offered before. So, there's all different perspectives and videos out there in the rabbit hole of YouTube of people explaining it. I think Brent Gove's probably got the most popular, the modelexplain.com, but getting them some kind of basic familiarity with the model, I think is important to have a Zoom call worth having. Then at that point, you start working on more specific things. What are their pain points? What are they trying to accomplish? In South Africa, we spent lots of time talking to brokerages in South Africa. And it was the ability to scale outside of South Africa, right? That was like the common pain point. So the Zoom call could then be more questions, and then sharpening the conversation to what they're looking for. And then at that next third level, would be bringing in international, getting them signed up through Megan's link in the chat box, and having a broader conversation. But at that point, they have the framework of the video, or how EXP works in the United States. They might have some slides, as Barry mentioned, on their own specific country. You understand what they're trying to achieve, and then you can go into the modeling of numbers and the international leadership team. Okay, we have another hand up there. I think Jason, is that right?
Yeah, can I just respond to that?
Yeah,
so
of course.
Each country has its own slides. So if you go to each country's page and you can convert that into English or to the country's language, then you can convert it to English. You can look at the slides in English. You can download it. You can understand the model, because each country is different. So like India is 75-25 split. With the potential to cap at 100%. The European model is 75-25, but the join is different. Fee is different in each country. The monthly fee is different. The model in South America is a little bit different. The model in the UK, but all the sites have those. So you can go there, and I think that actually is the best way to go, because you have the English right there and the target language of the country, right? That's what we really do. And I use that and I show that to my new prospects. Also, because when I'm there, I can click on the agents in the country and I can show each of the agents, and I can also point and show all the listings there. so I can show that it's actively happening and going on in that country. If it's a country that we're going to launch, like we did with Spain, right, where we actually had on our team the very first agent in Spain, and I think we're now at 8 or 10 that have been registered in the last 36 hours. And that was just building the vision of because we didn't even know the model. We shared the idea of, okay, this is what it is in France, this is what it is in Portugal, this is what it is in Italy. So it's probably similar to these, but we don't know until it's official, right? So we just get people interested, right? And we start a conversation.
Jason, let me ask you a question, since you definitely are well versed in this topic.
Right.
Have you experienced when new countries are opening that it is open to other U.S. agents or other countries adding agents to that group, or is there sort of a moratorium, a kind of a silent period where they allow the initial, pioneers to build up and create the narrative?
No, it's open to everybody.
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
just you got to decide what markets that you're going to target. Don't try to go too broad. I lived in Germany for 12 years. So, and I live in Italy today. So you think about when they announced that Germany was opening. I speak fluent German. So where do you think I'm going to focus for the next couple of months?
Yeah.
Right. So those are things that, as an American, I've lived overseas. And if you've never lived overseas and you don't speak multiple languages, it's hard for you to kind of beyond the cultural shock of the languages. The technology is available today. Zoom even has an option where you can have Zoom calls where you can have a translator translating live right there for your speakers of those other languages, and you're speaking English. So you just got to understand the technologies are there, and then how to put systems in place to allow the communication to happen. And all you really need to do is find a few leaders to take the torch first, and then you build under them. And
Let's get lit.
Let's get
So-
lit.
Yeah.
Baby.
So the
Very-
secret is
very
out,
good.
Rich. You're talking to my CEO and good friend, Jason.
Yeah, you guys
Without
keep-
him, I wouldn't be anything.
You
So
guys
he should
keep
be up
good
on
company.
the stage as well, for sure.
Yeah, well, Jason, maybe you can moderate on the next go around. Thank you so much for spelling that out for us. That was very informative.
Well,
All right.
Rich, thank you for your video, by the way.
Yeah, oh, it's my pleasure. All right,
Yeah,
everybody,
we love that video.
we are going to vacate the stage and let the continued education go on. Have a nice afternoon.
Thanks, Rich. Appreciate
you.
you. Thanks,
Rich.
Carlos. Great job. And Barry, you guys rock.
Back to you, my man.